Hello, today we're going to be playing a League Through in Modern with Dredge. So, what does Dredge do? Dredge is actually named after a mechanic from the original Ravnica block, which appears like this, so Dredge 5 on the Stinkweed Imp. What that effectively means is if Stinkweed Imp is in your graveyard and you try to draw a card, you may instead Dredge 5. Dredge 5 means put the top 5 cards of your library into your graveyard and then return Stinkweed Imp to your hand. So it's effectively a really quick way of being able to fill up your graveyard. So you can discard something like this, and then if you have Faithless Looting, you draw 2, so you draw. Instead of drawing, you dredge, maybe dredge into more dredges, so you effectively just dump your entire deck into your graveyard. And what happens when you do that? Well, maybe you hit something like a Narcomoeba, so when it's put into your graveyard from your library, it goes to the battlefield instead. Or Bloodghast, so if it's in your graveyard, then whenever you play a land, you can return it to the battlefield. So we have creatures which are going from the graveyard to the battlefield, and what likes those? Prized Amalgam. Prized Amalgam likes those very much. Also, there is sort of a secondary way of making sure that we can close out the game. So there is a funky little old card here from Time Spiral called Conflagrate. So this first mode is not really what we're using it for. What we're using it for here is the flashback. So for red, and we discard X cards, we can do X damage to target creature or players. So split a load of damage up, like a Rolling Thunder kind of effect, but we only have to pay 2 red and discard cards. So what we can do is we can cast Life from the Loam, get 3 lands back from our graveyard, get back Life from the Loam, get back a load of lands. We can effectively build up to have, easily 6 to 9 cards in hand, and then just Conflagrate 2 red, 9 damage to the face. Obviously the deck is kind of susceptible to graveyard hate, so Nature's Claim gets rid of things like Rest in Peace or Relic of Progenitus. Abrupt Decay does the same. Ancient Grudge, again, stops a bit of the hate. Lightning Axe we can bring in against some of the bigger decks, things like Eldrazi-Tron. Thoughtseize, again, a preemptive strike, only hate. Collective Brutality, again, just a bit more removal for creatures, something we can use against Burn. Again, Gnaw to the Bone. Gain 2 life for each creature in the graveyard. That's probably going to be 10 to 20 life often. So yeah, that's Dredge. I will see you in round 1. Okay, here we go with round 1 with Dredge. Let's see what we can do. So this hand doesn't really do anything. We can't cast any of our spells. I think this is a pretty clear mulligan. Dredge tends to mulligan quite well, so we're not too worried to have to mulligan. This looks probably like a keep. We'll put Narcomoeba on the bottom. We don't ever want to draw that because it's pretty hard to cast. Okay, a prized amalgam is fine, so let's play the Gorge and Faithless Looting. We'll try and find a Dredger. That is not a Dredger, so we will get rid of these two. Next turn we play a land, get back the prized amalgam and the Bloodghast, which is decent. 5 power on turn 2 with no dredging. Okay, opponent's on 2 fetch lands, and they've not cracked them yet, so this could be Grixis, Shadow. Yeah, that's what it looks like at the moment. So they Thought Scour themselves, and then just pass the turn. I'm going to play the Neonate. I think I want to crack it now, so I can discard this other Bloodghast. Okay, we hit a Faithless Looting. Let's... yeah, we'll play Blood Crypt, untapped. Always yield to all of these Bloodghast triggers. and to all of these prized amalgam triggers. Yep, still yes to you. Okay, and another Faithless Looting. Let's get rid of Narc Amoeba and a land. I don't want to let them know that we have Conflagrate yet, because if this is a shadow deck, they might be worried about getting burnt out. So keeping the Conflagrate in hand as a nice little surprise could be nice further down the line. So they get a Blood Crypt untapped, and well, they're going to Fatal Push the prized amalgam. That seems like a losing battle. Okay, they play a Bloodstained Mire, crack it for another Watery Grave, and they're down to 11. So we're in shadow territory, but Thoughtseize hits Conflagrate. That's fine. And shadow number 1, shadow number 2. We draw another Bloodghast. So I think I want to go looting. Get rid of these two and pass the turn. We're going to take a reasonably large hit this turn. Hopefully our opponent can't shoot themselves for 5, because then we're just dead. Okay, that's 3. So they can make the shadows 7/7s. If he's got a Street Wraith, then we are, yeah, dead. Okay, so just attacking, cracks, get Steam Vents tapped. That's a good sign. Okay. I'm gonna play the fetch, but I'm not gonna crack it. If they try and kill something in the beginning of combat, then I can still crack the fetch and get it back. And I think that's what they were thinking just there. So let's get in for 6 with these guys. If they have a counter, then we're just dead. So yeah, we can't really play around that at all here. I think we just have to go for it. Okay, fight you. Faithless Looting is negative on cards, so we would end up with only 1 left in hand, which means we couldn't burn our opponent out. So I think we just have to go for it. Is that a 2? I can't. Oh, come on, Moto. How much am I? Conflagrate you. 2, I think. Yeah, okay. Jesus, that shouldn't be that difficult. Do you have it? You don't. Okay, cool. Game 1. Done. Against Death Shadow. Okay, so Driven to Despair. That could be pretty useful here to get them off a load of cards. Abrupt Decay kills Shadow and a Lightning Axe. Dark Blast seems useless. Scourge Devil seems ambitious. I'll get rid of a Life from the Loam and what else? Drop 2 Loams. See how that goes. Okay, game 2. Opponent gets to play. I wonder how much of their own sort of disruption they've left in here. Presumably Thoughtseize is not where they want to be at the moment. So this hand is fine. Yeah, I'll keep. Again, we've not seen a Dredger yet in the first game and the first hand of the second game. Okay, cycle away, cycle away. This is effectively already a multi-6 because, yeah, I don't believe this deck list has a Steam Vents or anything in. No. We've got a City of Brass, so we can theoretically cast the Narcomoovers. Okay, so they're going to Thoughtseize probably take Cathartic Reunion, because that's the most powerful card. No, that's fine. So we do nothing this turn. We draw another fairly useless Narcomover. That's nice. But our opponent's down to 12, so that could be pretty bad for us. They just play an island, so at least it can only be one Death Shadow at most. And, okay, Young Pyromancer. What to do here? We're a bit screwed. Maybe this was not a keep. I think I am going to have to perform the world's least satisfying Cathartic Reunion. I'm going to get rid of these. Next turn we can go a bit mental with Faithless Looting maybe. Oh god, that's awful. Ugh. I think we're going to game 3. The Dredge gods are not looking favourably upon me. Okay, Serum Visions gets the token. And cycles another Street Wraith. Sure. Anything else? Spell Bomb. That's also annoying. Yeah, this game is so over. Hey, Stinkweed Imp. So, Stomping Ground. Let's flashback Faithless Looting. It's kind of our opponent to let us have this little draw. So let's get rid of... I want it to be tempting enough that they have to crack. So, Amalgam... Yeah, I think we'll throw the Dredger in as well. That should prompt them to crack the Spell Bomb. Yeah, okay. So now we can move on with our lives. Although we have nothing in hand with which to do that. Let's see, so opponent, they did something there, but it seemed to get completely lost. So Thought Scour, sure. And then just attacked. Okay, take 3, go to 13. What do we want here? What do we need? Snapcaster, Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize. See, this is risky, because if we draw Conflagrate off the top, then our opponent's just dead. Which seems really bad for them. Because they go to 5 off this, we can cast Conflagrate for 0 from hand, and then just flash it back. That's not Conflagrate. But we're not dead next turn either, so... Let's Reunion, try and draw it. Discard some land... Oh, discard lands and a Bloodghast. Okay. We'll play City of Brass, get back a Bloodghast, play a Neonate and another Neonate. And now we live next turn. We can even give our guys Menace, which 2 of them already have. Try and get the last few cards out of opponent's hand. I think the Thoughtseize there was a bit unnecessary, but Cathartic Uranium was a good draw. Okay, so opponent Thought Scours themselves again, gets another token, and draws. There's a Death Shadow in the bin. What else have you got? Fatal Push on the Bloodghast? Sure. That means nothing. It can't block anyway, and it's coming back next turn anyway. I think if we get a chance to block and sack with these Neonates, then I'm probably going to do that and try and just dig a bit deeper for a Conflagrate. Okay, opt, resolves. Obviously Conflagrate isn't lethal at the moment, but it could be soon. We'll see. So opponent's got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 power on board. So if we take only 1 this turn, then currently they don't have lethal next turn, which seems okay. So I'm going to discard this, draw a Blood Crypt, which I don't want, so try again. My, how many lands? Amalgam is useless, so gonna have to play the land to get back a Bloodghast. Always yes. Not difficult. That was probably wrong. I probably wanted to get back the Amalgam as well. Ugh. Sloppy plays. Draw 3. They don't do much. Loot. Get rid of that and yeah, that seems like everything. I'm pretty sure I played this game terribly, but the draw was also pretty bad. Let's try game 3. Okay, any changes? So Dark Blast suddenly becomes a better card. Now we see that our opponent has quite a number of fairly small creatures. We'll take out, I think we'll take out Driven to Despair. Does seem bad if they've got a load of creatures. Just try it like that. Okay, game 3, we're on the play. I would love to go first. This hand seems pretty decent, so I'm going to keep it. So turn 1 we can play Neonate, which means we get to dump this Stinkweed Imp into the bin. So the advantage to Neonate is you get to discard the card before you draw, so I can discard the Stinkweed Imp and then use its Dredge ability on the first turn instead of having to wait to my draw step to do it. So opponent cycles 2 Street Race, cracks a fetch for an untapped land, goes to 13, plays an Inquisition. That's fine. They probably have to take Cathartic Reunion now. Yep. Okay, and I'm just gonna get rid of this Stinkweed Imp. We'll dredge it back to hand. We hit 2 more dredges, so let's dredge Thug. What did we hit? Let's pop this graveyard out. So we've got Dark Blast could be useful. Loam, we've got plenty of dredges in there, so let's loot dredge 4, dredge. This is dredge 3, and this is dredge 3. Let's get the Dark Blast back. Okay, discard Imp and Thug. Narcomoeba trigger, yep. Amalgam trigger, and let's get a Bloodghast trigger as well. Okay, that's not bad for turn 2. Go. Yield to this one as well. Okay, let's see what our opponent can do about this. Considering they put themselves down to 13, us putting 6 power on the board is pretty relevant. Okay, they just play a Tarn, Crack, down to 12, that's a 2-turn clock. Go to 10, and just play a Death Shadow. Okay, cool. And another one? No, Tasker, sure. Let's dredge the Imp. We've hit Conflagrate, which seems pretty good. So we can basically wipe his board here, and that's kind of appealing. So I'm going to go to combat and attack with everybody, because they can't block this. So if they block incorrectly, we can just wipe their board. If not, we just get everyone back anyway, so we don't really care. Okay, cool. So they block like that. Our guys die. And then, so we need to do 2 to this, 2 to this, so we can flashback Conflagrate, 2, 2, and discard our hand to wipe those 2. Okay, the Scorched Earth strategy. So opponent just is now left with Serum Visions. Next turn we can dredge back Life from the Loam and cast that to get back some lands that we can use to get back a Bloodghast. Ooh, no! No, not the Spell Bomb. Okay, well that kind of slows us down. Our poor empty graveyard. Let's loot. Yep, I'm gonna discard those 2. And now I'm gonna attack you. Kapow. Get wand. Opponent just plays a land. Anything else? What do we want here? What is a good draw? A land would be fine, because then we could flashback looting. What else? What else? What else? Drawing a loam wouldn't help, because we don't have any lands left. Do you help? Wooded Foothills. Sure. I'm gonna hit you in the face for 1. Deal with it. Done. No? Okay, you're gonna bolt my Narcomoeba. That's a thing that happened. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna crack my Foothills, and I hope I have land left. I do, I have 1 fetchable land left. And there's also a City of Brass and a Gemstone Mine. Okay. We're a bit tight on mana sources then. Let's just dump 2 more cards in the bin. Those 2 are fine. and pass the turn. Okay, so opt is again absolutely fine. It's just opponent just sort of swimming through treacle. Death Shadow is a bit more of a problem. Stinkweed Imp. I'm gonna play it out. It's basically got Death Touch, so our opponent has to either remove it, in which case it goes to our graveyard, which is basically where we want it to be anyway, or they have to, I don't know. What is this? Terminates. Okay, sure. So they can get in for 8, which they do. Okay, we go to 9. That's fine. Anything else? 3 cards in hand. No. Anything? Okay, they've got a land. Nothing to do. Okay, so we're gonna dredge, hit Narcomoeba, and another prized amalgam, which is pretty good. So we get some power in play this turn. I would love to use this ability. And that one. And I'm just going to cast this back out again. So now we've got 2 blockers up. And 2 amalgams which are coming back. So our opponent's in a pretty tricky situation here, because if they have 2 removal spells, they win the game. If they don't, they probably just lose. Because we're going to have 8 power on board next turn, potentially. So they shouldn't be able to attack here. Let's see what they can do. They're thinking quite hard. There's only 2 cards in their hand, not too many decisions they need to make. Maybe they're wondering whether or not they can crack this fetch. I don't think they can, because if they crack the fetch, then us getting in with 1 amalgam plus flashing back the conflagrate is lethal. We can just conflagrate for 1, and that's not what they want at all. So Snapcaster, terminate. Or Snapcaster, bolt. Okay. Have they got Fatal Push as well? Was that their last 2 cards in hand? No. Do you have a removal spell? Cycles down to 3. They know that this is it. They have to find it here. And they've not slammed it. Do we win? Do we win? Okay, they just pass. We're going to dredge again. We hit another Narcomoeba, which is great. Yes, please come to the battlefield. And how do we play this safely now? What's the safest way to play? I can kill the Snapcaster, but then so I can kill the Snapcaster with Conflagrate and then attack with the 2 amalgams. it means we still have 2 blockers back. That seems kind of safe. So I think I'm going to give that a go. Try and get in with these. Okay, opponent blocks. And cool, we got there. Okay, that was quite good. Opponent sent a message, but I've already clicked off it, so we don't get to see that. Quality programming. Okay, cool. That was fun. I will see you in round 2.